What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It is Mimosa Monday. Oh, yeah. It is Mimosa Monday, which means it is Ask Me Anything Day. We're going to get the week started off right. Give it about a couple more minutes to let people come in. We're going to do some shout outs in the meantime. We are now live right now on the MCSU Network YouTube channel, on my personal YouTube channel, and on Rockfin Premium. Who do we have? We got Yasmin. Or Yasmin. I'm gonna go with Yasmin. Holly Horn. What's going on, Holly? How are you doing? Luther de Papier. You said you working from home, so you got your coffee ready? It's okay today. I don't have I got a lot of stuff to do today, so I couldn't do my mimosa today. I got a smoothie instead. But don't worry, next Monday we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming. But I gotta be healthy today. I got a long day. I need all my energy. And y'all know, man. After Mimosa Monday, boy, I'll be ready to nap. I know brunch. After you have brunch, you're supposed to go to sleep. Walker Miller, Kentucky Love. Can you talk more about tax reallocation, as in the disastrous financial history of the Pentagon, the Federal Reserve, and the state of perpetual war? I actually do talk about that pretty often. I mean, I don't dedicate necessarily exclusive segments to it, but I talk about it pretty often. But I will keep that in mind. Hello, goodbye. Thing I don't get is how do people on the left not see the media hates Trump so much that it in itself should tell in and of itself should tell us he's better than Biden. I don't even know if he's better than Biden, but I would say that he's Biden is worse for us. I could say that, given who's on his side. Anything bad that Trump has done, Biden could, of course, streamline and, of course, receive little to no backlash. And if he receives little to no backlash, that means he's not going to organize, or people aren't going to organize against it. And he will be able to continue to do the same things that Obama did and that Trump did. And I'm doing pretty well, Holly. I'm doing pretty well. I can't complain. I mean, I could, but what would that do, right? Make sure y'all like this video. Make sure you share this video. Bethlehem's on the personal YouTube stream. Susie, can you go ahead and share the YouTube link into the MCSC network stream so people can subscribe there? Real Politics, what's going on? Morning from H-Town. Noodle Hopper. What's up? It's noon in Florida. It is noon in Florida. I'm in Florida, so that's how I know it's noon here. Like the video. Oh, I forgot I need to share in one more spot. Forgot all my Reddit fam. You're in Trump. Oh, you're in Lakeland. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, from what I've seen, basically all of Florida is Trump Nation. It's like a little sprinkle of Biden, at least, openly. Like a little sprinkle of Biden places, like sprinkle. But basically, even Fort Lauderdale, which is a very blue area, it looks like Trump land. How much of it is going to be Trump land? I guess we'll find out when elections come. Oh, damn. Somebody just reminded me that AOC voted to continue funding ICE after talking about defund ICE. Which part of Central Florida though, Noodle Hopper? I see, Central Florida is kind of weird. You got the Orlando side and you got the west side. That west side of Central Florida is that's just like Alabama. Natalie, what's going on, Nat? I feel like I haven't seen you in our stream in like forever, but it's probably because we start early. It's funny because if I start on time, Natalie don't make it, or she makes it late, like or at the end. But if I start late, Natalie's always there. Biden has the enthusiasm as a dead deer who just been hit by a pickup truck with the Trump flag hanging out the back. Maybe, I don't know, maybe maybe Biden has done more for black people than Abraham Lincoln. I don't know, maybe, probably, possibly, but sure, for sure, definitely done more. Why do progressive YouTubers? Okay, I see we got the questions coming in here. So let me go ahead and get this show started. I'm like, why everybody asking me so many questions? I gotta do a show. Then I remembered everybody asking me a bunch of questions because of the AMA. So yeah, let me go ahead and get the show started. What is up, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream AMA Ask Me Anything session on Mikasa Tsukasa. Of course, I am, as always, your humble host, Nico House. Right now, we are streaming on the MCSE Network YouTube page, my personal YouTube page, just Nico House. Make sure you subscribe there if you have not, and on Rockfin. We are streaming on Rockfin Premium as we speak at this very moment, because Rockfin is the awesomeness. And so make sure that, and of course, there are links to all of this in the description. So if you have not subscribed to my personal YouTube page yet, make sure you do so. It is you got to just do whatever you can, right, to ensure that you get the notifications. And that is another way that we are ensuring that you get the notifications. Of course, subscribe to Rockfin. By the way, if you do subscribe to Rockfin, once you do, you will get email notifications from myself whenever we're live, whenever we have something special going on, for major videos, breaking news videos, things like that. And so make sure you subscribe there. Yes, WT Surfs, you're asking if it's only Rockfin Premium for the AMA. Yes, it is only Rockfin Premium for the AMA because they can't do super chats. So, Rockfin people who have premium, we're going to do them a solid and make sure that they can get their questions in as well, without being overlooked. So, next thing I wanted to discuss really quick before we get into all the questions is our Odysee page. So if you see in the description, we have an Odysee link. That is a platform that's similar to YouTube, except for they have a very strict no censorship rule, and they don't manipulate algorithms to benefit the mainstream media. It's open source. It's also crypto based. However, you can also tip people on there, right? So you can tip YouTubers kind of like super chats, but you can tip them even if they're not live. They have over 1 million users already. Some of you may have known it before as Library, but Library is going to be its own crypto platform, whereas Odysee now is its own video platform, and they're doing their official rollout, I believe, in about a week or so. There's already a bunch of people that on there. Myself, Ron's on there, Combo's on there, Kim Iverson's on there. Even some of your, maybe, outside of politics, a lot of YouTube creators are on there because, and for my creators out there, it allows you to automatically sync your YouTube videos to Odysee. And this is something we joined Odysee as a precaution because we know after November 3rd, after the election, there's going to be a lot of tomfoolery. And we already are anticipating being either censored on YouTube or kicked off of YouTube. And so we are just taking as many precautions as possible. Plus, we really like Odyssey. Rockfin is definitely still my fave, but Odyssey has a lot of upside and very robust conversations, not a bunch of trolls and bots in the comment section like on YouTube. So you can join us on Odyssey by clicking on the link in the description below. It takes a second to do. So if you want to do that, please be my guest. We greatly appreciate it. And of course, if you are watching from your television screen, you can follow us on Rockfin or Odyssey by using any of these barcodes right here, these QR codes. So without further ado, let's get started. Natalie, oh, thank you very much for the super chat, Nat. Greatly appreciate it. Brandon Burks, what are some good search engines? Also, can you do a quick one on deciphering polls? Wow, you in Fort Lauderdale? I live between. I know what the DET stands for. I just completely forgot. In Wilton Manor. So you're in Broward then. Okay, cool. I'm not in Fort Lauderdale. I used to live in Broward. I used to live in Hollywood, but I'm in Miami now. We in Miami, baby. Broward crazy, bro. It's like the Wild Wild West up there. I don't live in Broward no more. But yeah, I can do a video here pretty soon on deciphering polls. I think we're gonna have to, because I think it's important. Not saying that every poll is wrong, but I am saying, I took polling analysis in college, so like I studied it pretty extensively, and bro, one of the first things we learned is that, if it's a political poll, it's probably not accurate. For a number of reasons. But polling is interesting. Polling can be accurate in some ways, and still in the overall interpretation of the poll, people can interpret it wrong. And that could be just because the polling is leading, right? The presentation is leading the person to interpret it wrong. Like they'll be like, oh, Biden is up, but they won't mention the fact that, if I am not mistaken, like there's a couple of polls where they'll say Biden is up, but like Trump is like leading. He's like potentially about to get more black voters than any other Republican in modern history. So like that's a pretty significant thing that should be discussed, because if that happens in the wrong places, like once again, Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Florida, if that happens, then Biden is in a lot of trouble. It don't matter how many white people you win in, if the black people in big metropolitan areas and swing states don't like you that much. So, or they just stay home. So like that type of stuff is kind of important. Also, whenever you see a national poll claiming that a swing state is going in one direction or the other, like or a major network poll like a Huffington Post or CNN poll, if you ever see anything like that about a swing state, you should immediately go look up the state polling. What are the local newspapers in the state saying, in the cities saying about their state? Because they probably have a little bit more accurate of a sample size. They aren't using outdated phone numbers from the Democratic Party. People who always vote, people who've always voted Democrats, people who've always, the way they get their phone numbers is maybe a little bit different than the way CNN or MSNBC or Huffington Post gets theirs. So I want to get some of the questions that I missed at the TizApp. Is Ice Cube going to be on the show? I'm working on it. I can't have him on this week because I have like a bunch of stuff going on this week. Mostly good, actually. Mostly good. Like family stuff. But I want to sit down. I want to dedicate time to just, giving him the show that he deserves. Can't come over here half-stepping with Ice Cube on the show, right? What do you think about Kyle Kalinske not mentioning Tulsi's bills? It's Kyle. It's Kyle's show. It's not like it's not par for the course for Kyle. It's just Tulsi gets people attacked. Kyle has an image that he'd like to maintain, and mentioning those bills would require him to discuss in further detail more about Tulsi and the consistency of Tulsi. And we just know how people are when it comes to the lack of consistency when it comes to mentioning Tulsi. A lot of people don't want to give Tulsi the credit because it's taboo to do so, for no other reason than just the fact that it's taboo. There's no reason, no real genuine reason, if we're going to compare or contrast Tulsi with any other quote unquote progressive in Congress, especially the squad. But it's just taboo because it's taboo. There's no real reason for that. So it is what it is, man. It is a problem. It's one of the problems of the progressive movement, that they want to pick and choose what progressives they like based off of nothing other than what can get them potentially views, or what can yield the least amount of backlash. And the truth is, like, to be real, a lot of that is TYT's fault because they have the biggest brand and they smear people. A lot of that is the progressive movement's fault. If people would go over and correct, I mean, not TYT, they don't care. But if people would go over and correct a lot of these progressives who may be lacking in one form or another when it comes to the content, the important content, like people did with Assange. People called out a lot of people when it came to Assange. If people felt that this legislation and these policies were actually important, they would go and hound these progressive media people about it, and they would be forced to cover it. But that policy over personality thing isn't really true, as people claimed it was during the primary. Unfortunately, and even still, Tulsi has a better personality than most of these people anyway, so it wouldn't make any sense. But anyway, let's check out what we got on the other YouTube page. Who do we have over here? See if we got any questions. No, on that page. All right, we got any? No, rock thing yet. Okay, let's get back to the main page. Did I miss anybody? Anna West, you said, the White House website has a thing where you can petition issues to be addressed. Start a petition and have followers sign it. That'd be nice. I'm not sure if I buy it, but I mean, why not? At that point, why not? I guess. Why do progressive YouTubers repeat the lie that Biden leads in the polls? Because they don't learn from history? I don't know. Because they don't learn from history? That's the only thing I can think of. We've already seen what this person leads in the poll. Now, I will give Biden this, though. At least he campaigned in Michigan. That's about all I got. At least he campaigned in Michigan. I don't think he completely shit the bed on whatchamacallit, during the debates. I don't think he completely shit the bed during the debates. Not completely. Mostly, sure. Completely, nah. And who's gonna challenge him on the lies that he told during the debates? Progressives seemingly want like a fake victory. I don't know why. I don't know what they're so obsessed with this fake victory for, but that's what it seems like. Neo-progressives, I should say. Not the real ones. Not like me or the Convo Couch or Richie or something. Like, they're really obsessed with this idea of, like, I feel like, I know it's gonna sound weird, but I feel like putting Biden in power is almost like an accelerationist mindset, because there's no way you can't know what that's gonna lead to. It's beyond business as usual. It's everything will be streamlined. Neocons and neoliberals will have a spot. Whereas right now in Trump's cabinet, like, it's just a bunch of neocons for the most part. But if Biden gets in, it'll be the combination of the worst neocons and the worst neoliberals and the worst Wall Street bankers in all of Washington. And no one will be calling him out. and they'll have control over big tech. They already do, basically. Like, do we understand why this could be a significant problem? Like, people want to say letting Trump win is accelerationist. No, letting Biden win is very accelerationist, because you're not even criticizing him now. So when he gets power and he can't be challenged because he's only serving one term. Y'all gonna get me started in here. Don't get me started in here. But I don't know why they lie like that. Paranormal activity and mysterious stories. Trump has car and boat rallies. Biden holds funerals where some people in cars show up. I mean, yeah, kind of. That's kind of what happens. A little bit. Glory, what's going on? Appreciate you showing up. Hope you're showing well this morning. So it's funny that you mentioned the boat and car rallies, because that's actually exactly what happens. And it's kind of weird that nobody knows that. Like, it's weird to me that people don't really get how much enthusiasm Trump has behind him. Ain't a little bit. So I live in Little Havana, and there was a bunch of beeping outside one day. I looked at my wife. I said, "Yo, what's up with this beeping? Like, what's going on? Tell me why." It was a Trump rally, like one of them little drivey things, right? Little drivey things. But no, they always driving their cars down Calle Ocho, which is the main, I would call it the main street in Little Havana in downtown Miami. And so I'm just trying to share this. And that damn car rally, whatever you want to call it, the what do they call it? The caravan. Not caravan. Not a caravan. Is it a caravan? What's the word I'm thinking about, y'all? I guess it would be considered a caravan. But that thing lasted 2 hours. It lasted 2 hours. And they weren't driving at no 5-6 miles per hour, bro. They were booking like 35, 40 going. 2 hours. Beep, 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 beep. This is in Little Havana. Now, Miami Cubans are weird, okay? Like, I think that it should be understood that Miami Cubans are a little bit different than most of the Latino community. But the enthusiasm, the willingness to get out and vote, the willingness to get out and go to his rallies, the willingness to get out and get on. Like, do y'all know how hard it is and complicated it is to go take your boat out for a boat rally? I know that sounds silly, but like, my friend's dad owns a boat, and it's a whole thing to go take your boat out. It is a project that day. You're not doing nothing else that day if you go take your boat out in the water, right? And so it should not be taken lightly, the amount of excitement these people like. And I guess it's kind of different too, because with Trump supporters, they're not. And I was talking about this on Twitter the other day. I've never, ever, one single time been shamed by a Trump supporter. Not once. Never. In other words, they'll say, "Who are you voting for?" I say, "Gloria La Riva." They know I live in Florida. Specifically, I live in South Florida. Specifically, a swing state in a swing area in South Florida. That's very important to a Trump supporter, given that the next 2 counties up, are definitely probably going to go Biden. Well, no, West Palm Beach will be we'll see. But Broward will definitely go to Trump, and that's like the biggest county in all of Florida. So, we'll go to Biden. Broward County, where Debbie Wasserman Schultz is, would definitely, like Fort Lauderdale, that area, will definitely go to Biden. But even with all that, they're like, "Oh, okay, well, you know what, man? More power to you. Appreciate you being honest. Like, I'm voting for Gloria La Riva. Hey, more power to you. Appreciate you being honest. Thanks for covering the news the way you do. Need more honest journalism." And they go out and they go back to their booths where they're campaigning for Trump. They go out back to their boats, their cars, making phone calls, phone banking, online activism, like genuine online activism, not this fake half-ass, you better vote against Biden thing. No, they're not voting against Biden. They're voting for Trump. And when you have a crowd that is voting for something rather than against something, generally speaking, the crowd that is voting for something almost always wins. That's just how it goes. That's what history tells us. They say when you're fighting a war, you always want to fight with soldiers loyal to your country, your cause, not with mercenaries, because mercenaries are less likely to win a war for you because they are not loyal to anything but money. And once the money runs low or they feel like it's not worth the money, they won't fight anymore. And that's basically what we're seeing with Biden, right? It's lucrative for a lot of people to advocate for Biden or against Trump. It's lucrative. What happens when the money runs out? Because it won't be lucrative to call out Biden if he wins. Then what? Then what's going to happen? All of a sudden, I mean, it won't be lucrative to call him out. It may not even be lucrative to cheer him on. It's just going to be what happened with Obama. People won't tune out. Sucks, but it is what it is. Donnie Nunn, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Should have thought of this earlier, but we should have suggested that Joe Rogan host a debate between third-party candidates on his podcast. I think that was actually discussed. I do believe that was actually discussed, but no one, he just, I don't think he took up the offer, or I don't think that the campaigns reached out to him in a serious manner. On the other YouTube channel, Noodle Hoopa, appreciate the chat. So Nico, do you think that people are just being principled all of a sudden, or do you think social media is somehow controlling the progressive narrative? I think 100% that social media is controlling the progressive narrative. And of course, the almighty dollar is controlling the progressive narrative more than anything. The progressives claimed, right? Once again, this is just the easiest thing I could think of every single time. They claimed that they supported Bernie Sanders over Tulsi Gabbard because of policy rather than personality, rather than anything else. It just was exclusively policy. That just simply isn't true. Bernie's foreign policy is sketch at best. His civil liberties policy is trash at best. The man said that Chelsea Manning did deserve to be prosecuted, although he was questioning how long she was prosecuted or how long she served, and he was, doing what Bernie does, right? Talking out both sides of his neck. But he's trash on civil liberties. Where's his Julian Assange statement? We don't know because it don't exist, and the ones that do kind of exist are not good ones. So those are two major issues for progressives. Election integrity, which should be a major issue for progressives, but isn't, by the way. He sucks on that issue too. I don't even gotta get into the rest of the damn policy. Tulsi's better than him on all three of those things. Off rip. Okay, so you want to get into climate change. Tulsi's the best on Congress climate change in the entire legislature. It's not even close. This is what she got into politics to do. Fought for climate and the environment as a city councilwoman, as a state legislator, and as a representative of Hawaii in the U.S. House of Representatives. So, and she also introduced the best climate change legislation in the history of the world. Literally, not figuratively. It's not hyperbole. It's literally. It's 400 climate environmental legislation that endorse the OFF Act, which caused all of the 2018 progressives to run on supporting the OFF Act before they abandoned it because AOC wanted the fame for herself and introduced that shit piece of legislation called the Green New Deal that wasn't even the real Green New Deal. And so social media got them to push Bernie because Bernie was where the money is. Bernie was where the popularity is. Bernie was where the clout was. But it wasn't policy. So now you fast forward. Where's the money at? Biden. Biden's throwing money. Where's the clout at? Biden. Why do you think all these celebrities... Bro, we're really learning the influence of CAA and UTA. I know we saw it briefly during the election when it came to the attacks on Tulsi, right? But this is something different. For example, Sasha Cohen, Borat. You know, he made that new Borat 2 movie. It's largely just a bunch of anti-Trump stuff from the clips that I've seen. I haven't watched the whole movie. I'm not gonna lie and pretend like I did, but I don't want to watch it. I'm like, bro, I see enough anti-Trump stuff all day. I know what he's guilty of already. I know what his administration is guilty of. I don't need but if you're not gonna put that same energy into calling out Obama's corrupt White House, then I don't really care. Like, I don't need you to tell me how corrupt this man is. I make jokes about it all the time. I don't need more corny jokes from you. But I'm like, damn, why would the timing of the release of this movie was just very interesting to me. And I said, oh man, I bet if I go look up Sasha's new talent agency, how much anybody want to bet it's either CAA or UTA. Guess what? It was CAA, and he joined exactly in 2016. As if they were anticipating a scenario where they were going to need every single popular celebrity that has some type of influence on political pop culture to back Biden or whoever the candidate was. At the time, I'm pretty sure they were expecting everybody to have to back Kamala, but this is what they're left with, right? So it's not even like it's their tomfoolery is just predictable now. But you got Twitter deleting posts, Facebook deleting posts, people getting censored. Now Twitter's talking about, oh, we're gonna put context to shit on trending topics. What? So in other words, you're gonna propagandize the trending topics as if they aren't already propagandized enough. Like, as if we didn't see Twitter purposely suppress Tulsi's name during the debates, or even Bernie's name on some occasions. Even Yang's name on some occasions. And so, do you want to play on team censored, team suppressed, when you're trying to fill your bank account and get clout? Or do you want to play for the team that's doing what's best for the country? Takes a lot of balls to be part of the latter. A lot of people ain't got balls. Not like they claim they do. So, it's unfortunate, but it's reality. So yeah, social media and a plethora of other avenues are absolutely influencing progressives to do the wrong thing. They want to be cool. It's a bunch of kids who ain't never had no clout ever in their lives. If you meet them outside of social media, I mean, we talked about this last week on the show. These people are lame. They've never had friends. They were kind of like, you know, somebody actually put it kind of funny. They said that they were either band geeks, theater geeks, or geek geeks, basically. And so being part of the squad makes them feel cool and important. Being a Bernie supporter made them feel cool and important. But all the real cool kids were already Tulsi supporters. Why? Because we didn't rely on a candidate to make us cool. We were actually concerned about policy because we're not busy trying to chase around our childhood dream of actually having friends that communicate with us in real life. So, Donnie Nunn, thank you very much for the super chat. Oh, no, I already answered yours. Thank you, though. I appreciate that question, though. That was a good question. Bethlehem, what's going on? Thank you so much. Well, Trump just lost and pushed most Ethiopian Americans to vote for Biden after his threat on Ethiopia on Friday about the now situation with Egypt. Did he really do that dumb shit? Oh, that boy is such an idiot. And what's crazy is a lot of Africans I know, for some reason, were supporting him. That's what was weird. A lot of Africans I knew were supporting him. Maybe because a lot of Africans in the States are small business owners or are pretty wealthy, if not wealthy, high, upper middle class region. So maybe that had a lot to do with it. But I know that he's supposed to, like, the Sudanese people are like in love with him. I know a lot of Sudanese people who like him. But that's stupid. I got to do some more research into that, Beth. But thank you. Send me a link to that, please, on Instagram or Twitter. I would appreciate that. Would greatly appreciate that. Yes, Nina is cool. William Castro, or Wilmar Castro, excuse me. Real Bernie bros went Tulsi. Hey, real talk. Real talk, bro. Real Bernie bros went Tulsi. Trust me, I was like the ultimate Bernie bro too. So I'm speaking from experience. I started the largest Bernie Sanders organization in the country in 2016, and I did that. And this is on wax. You can go Google this. You can look up the pictures. You can see all that. I did it when no one knew who the hell Bernie Sanders was. That's when I started that organization. So it wasn't like if I would have started an organization like in 2020 or 2019, like if I wasn't back in college and I started that same organization, bro, it'd have been 500 people just on campus. It'd have been easy to start an organization for Bernie Sanders back then, or excuse me, now as compared to back then. But we had 350 people then. And it was easy because it was policy based. That's it. And of course, Hillary was just that bad. But it's a different discussion for a different day. Yo, an MPP insider said they would have had ballot access this year with the candidate if half of MPP didn't go volunteer for Bernie's Dumpster Fire campaign this primary. That makes sense. I believe that. I believe that 100%. I mean, what I found interesting. So once again, this is back to Tulsi because Tulsi supporters are dope. So there was a lot of Tulsi supporters who ended up, because they understood that Bernie was in a very unique situation, right? It wasn't about policy. It was like, this guy has the ability to get in if he fights. And Tulsi would have likely been his VP at that time. Long time ago, right? It seems like ages and ages ago. But Tulsi would have been his VP. And so the best way to get Tulsi would have been to help Bernie win. So they would spend a lot of their time campaigning for both. Whereas Bernie, like the hardcore Bernie supporters, like hardcore Bernie supporters that just love Bernie for Bernie, they would instead trash Tulsi. So you had Tulsi people campaigning for both, letting people make informed decisions, which should be the decisions that anyone and everyone makes. Whereas you had on the other side of that fence people trashing Tulsi every opportunity they got because they thought it would help Bernie, because they were intimidated by her, because they knew if you went policy for policy, it wasn't even close. And once again, everybody wonders why Bernie lost. It's not hard to do an autopsy of his campaign. A lot of it was Bernie himself. A lot of it was his supporters. They refused to coalesce with anybody except for their little roses. And you can't win like that. Whereas the establishment had zero problem coalescing. Bernie supporters didn't want to coalesce with anyone that wasn't inside the little circle jerk of Rose Twitter. Oh man, but did y'all know Elizabeth Warren is more progressive than Tulsi? Bro, Elizabeth Warren isn't even more progressive than Andrew Yang. Real talk. She isn't even more progressive than Andrew Yang. At least when Andrew Yang gave his explanation as to why he wanted, like, he wasn't for Medicare for all. He was for an actual public option, which we know would have got negotiated down further. Like, public option is inherently bad, but unless you're going to get big money completely out of politics, which is not going to happen, it is bad in the United States. But he was honest. He was like, this is what I got. Mike Figueredo challenged him on it. Then he changed his opinion because he was being honest when he was having the conversation about universal health care. So, like, I do believe that Andrew Yang has an ego. I do believe he makes a lot of decisions based off of his ego. I do believe Andrew Yang is a clout chaser. But I know, I can tell where Andrew Yang stands. And I know, like, okay, bruh, you're wrong here. But you're wrong because you genuinely probably don't know any better. You're basing your decisions based off of the people around you and what you've come to know. Whereas Tulsi making her decisions off of experience is like just leaps and bounds better. But the reason she's friends with Yang is because she feels like he's at least for the most part genuine. Elizabeth Warren was, I don't want to use words that would be mean. Not the word that I want to use. She just wasn't good for us. Put it like that. If we're ever at a bar one day, I'll use the words I actually want to say. Meteor Dreams. Thoughts on Anna K being censored and still for it? Anna Kasparian is an idiot. Of course, Anna Kasparian would get censored and still be for it, because Anna Kasparian is going to collect a paycheck regardless. Anna Kasparian's paycheck is not dependent on whether or not she's going to be censored. And I don't even think that she was actually censored from TYT. She was censored from Jacobin, who doesn't have a deal with Facebook and YouTube. However, TYT does have a deal with Facebook and YouTube, which is why they're never censored, even though they're wrong literally all the time. Of course, Anna Kasparian supports censorship because her competition is what gets censored. And I'm not talking about the Candace Owenses and the Tommy Lorenz of the world. Because of the Jimmys, myself, Graham, Convo, Jamarl Thomas, like, those are the type of people she wants to be censored. She claims it's like, oh, I just want Alex Jones censored. She's not worried about no damn Alex Jones. She really isn't. She is, however, worried about people. Like, it's funny because she talks all that trash about Alex Jones, right? And anybody who platforms him, but had no problem going on Joe Rogan and clout chase, did she? Crazy how that works. Crazy how that works. It's almost as if Anna's outrage is completely and totally selective based off of whatever serves her best interest at the time. But that's just rumor and conjecture. I don't know. Maybe, potentially. Donnie Nunn, thank you very much for the super chat. Did you hear about the rumors that the IMF official says there's another Bretton Woods event? That another Bretton Woods event is inevitable. I heard on Max Kaiser. Bretton Woods. Let me look this up because I had no idea what you're talking about. Or at least I can't recognize the name, so let me check. Bretton Woods. Oh, in Africa? In South Africa? If it's about South Africa, that's something I have to do some more research in. I love that so many of my supporters are interested in African news. I really am. I learn a lot from you guys. Like, it's hard to. Most of my knowledge about Africa is like directly connected to the United States influence and some of the turmoil in that region. But I learn a lot from you guys because I don't know, y'all just really, really educated. I can't even keep up. So I'm gonna definitely look more into that. No, Deco is not going on Joe Rogan, unfortunately. Joe's too cool for me. Alex Jones is a Mossad asset. Probably. I don't think I've ever heard, I don't listen to the dude, but I've never heard him criticize Mossad like that. So check what's going on in the other page. You got any questions? No questions on other YouTube yet. No questions on Rockfin yet? Okay. Red Sea Socialist, you're African. Nice. Pretty sure I'm African too. At least a little bit. Nico, are you a Christian? Love you, Nico. It depends. How do you define Christianity? If we're going by the strictest definition of Christianity, as in Christ-like, as in try to behave as close to Jesus Christ as humanly possible, then yeah, I would say I'm a Christian. I believe that Jesus Christ was if he was real, then he was probably a Renaissance man. For those of you who don't know, a Renaissance man is somebody who is well versed in several different disciplines, usually math, science, philosophy, art a lot of the times, astronomy, things like that. All the Ninja Turtles, Renaissance men. Not literally the Ninja Turtles, but Michelangelo, Donatello, all those types of people were all Renaissance men. Never finished anything except for like 2 things. But they were also known to be hated by whoever the establishment was at the time. If I remember, Claude Monet and several others, all the impressionists at the time, were forbidden from being put in the Louvre because they just wouldn't do the art that they were commanded to do. And so it would actually make sense that the story of Jesus, even the one that we have been taught, it would make sense that he was treated the way he was treated, because instead of trying to climb the ladder, he instead walked with the peasants, the prostitutes, etc. Instead of trying to ingratiate himself with the kings of that region, he challenged them, told them to stop spending their money on war and started spending it on the people. He told them that y'all are not the kings of this world, that, et cetera, et cetera. Like, also that whole turn wheat into bread thing, I think that was like actually like science, but to sell the allure of, the mystique of Jesus, they hyperbolized it and kind of like mythologized it, and was like, yeah, he turned wheat into bread. And you're like, yeah, but you kind of need wheat to make bread. So he probably just did it faster than a lot of people using science. And that might have been, so he might have actually been a man who, obviously we know his philosophy. We also understand that he was beloved. We also understand he challenged the establishment. We also understand he's on the side of the working class, and therefore would, just what history shows us, would necessarily be an enemy of the establishment, the ruling class. And so I do believe in that philosophy. I do believe that is how most people should live. They should live selflessly. They should always challenge the ruling class, and they should be working on behalf of the working class. Like, even if you're elevated, right? And we know Jesus was elevated by the people of his time, the people who believed in him or believed in God. Even when you are elevated, that just puts more responsibility on your shoulders to walk with the working class and challenge the ruling class. So, by the strictest definition of Christianity, as in being Christ-like, I try to be. I'm not a religious person. I do believe in God. I do believe I'm a very, very spiritual person, though. I do a lot of mushrooms. A lot of those. I also believe in like demigods, but not in a traditional sense, like not in the way like that, like the Greek mythology talked about it. But I do believe that there are people who have so much talent when it comes to certain type of intelligences, when it comes to the manipulation of energy or the perception of energy, or their ability to mimic energy, things like that. I believe that is a thing, and I believe that there are some people who are so great at it, whatever that might be, that basically makes them like a god walking amongst men. I also believe they also get driven crazy sometimes, and that's how you end up with, just some of the people that you couldn't believe would kill themselves. Like, wow, you have everything, you're so talented. Well, because it's kind of a burden also. I think there's only so much the human mind can take without suffering. So yeah, I believe, so there's a little bit of truth to all that stuff, I believe. Michael Karash, thank you very much for the super chat. Bretton Woods was a conference that created the Marshall Plan, which rebuilt Europe after the World War II and fixed worldwide interest rates. Really? I don't know why I was under the impression that was called something else. Oh, you know what? I'm pretty sure the Marshall Plan is what I was thinking of. So I didn't know that I didn't know that was a conference that the Marshall Plan was created at. Okay. Learn something new. Or learn another aspect of it. Thank you for that bit of information. So if they're going to try to do another Bretton Woods, I'm confused. What would be the catalyst? That's what I would be kind of confused about. Like, there's no World War II. if they're trying to fix world interest rates, it can't be good for us. That's all I know. The Bretton Woods Accord was the agreement made in 1944 that made the dollar a reserve currency. Check out the recent Max Keiser channel. I'm going to subscribe to him right now. Max Keiser. Max Keiser sounds like a guy who knows what he's talking about. Name of a strong young man. Max Keiser. Max Keiser TV. I'm assuming that's it. The Bitcoin guy is do Bitcoin. Oh, I think I'm familiar with this guy.